This past weekend, I had a watch day in New York City. And after a couple years as a watch collector and enthusiast, I realized that I'm starting to exist in multiple watch domains. In fact, I equate my path akin to the formation and evolution of our solar system. Stay tuned to see what the heck I'm talking about. Welcome to another episode of Adventures with Time, where I share with you my experiences in watches. I'm Bob, your host, and principal of this adventure, which is now entering its third year. This past Saturday, I traveled into New York City for two purposes. First, to visit the Seiko Boutique to consider Grand Seiko as my first mid-tier luxury watch. I'll leave a link up here to my review of the Grand Seiko collection. It was also the weekend of the 2019 Windup Show in New York City, so I got a two-for trip. I'll discuss more about the Windup Show later in this episode, but I want to discuss some realizations I had upon returning from this watch day. Now, maybe these are concepts which others have already come to realize. Or maybe your approach to this hobby is different, and I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments below. My involvement in this world of watches is starting to coalesce into several distinct areas, related but somewhat separate. Just as how the gas clouds during the formation of our solar system, there was a collection of watch aspects in my life. But 2 years ago, these bits ignited into a hobby for me. Over the past 2 years, various bits of the hobby started to form into several distinct areas for me. Mostly, I've been exploring the affordable watch sector, those watches under $1,000. Recently, I started to consider delving into mid-tier luxury watches, those between $2,000 and $6,000. I'll leave a link up here to the first episode of my search for a mid-tier luxury watch. Another planet in my watch solar system, to continue this metaphor, is learning about horology. And then there is this YouTube channel. So now I have several aspects circling around my watch hobby. But the point I think I've come to realize is that for me, affordable watches and luxury watches are two distinct areas of watch buying, and how I want to approach them are somewhat different. The affordable area and those under $1,000, and I know affordable doesn't quite jive with the top end of that tier, may be considered a play area. In this range, there are a lot of watch brands, many micro brands who are constantly coming out with new models. I think it's an area of the hobby for me to explore, experience, and learn about. Buying some watches, seeing what I like and what's being offered, selling what I eventually determine not really suited to my interest. I don't mean to be frivolous about this. I know these watches, for the most part, lose value once driven out of the showroom. So I don't intend to be flipping watches weekly or monthly. And I don't even have to buy watches to experience what is happening in this sector. Going to shows like Windup, watching reviews on YouTube and other media gives me the opportunity to learn what new brands and new models there are. As I realized in the search for a mid-tier luxury watch, buying a watch that costs several thousands of dollars is a different undertaking that requires a different mindset. This, I believe, is a long-term proposition that doesn't happen on a whim or impulse. It takes careful consideration, and any decision has to be made with emotion and a deep connection and attraction for the item. And several of you have made that point to me in the comments, and I thank you. The existence of these two sectors, for me, are almost self-evident in the videos I've been making on this channel. You will usually see me make just one episode about any specific affordable watch, unless I decide to sell it or have issues. But my search for a luxury watch is consuming several videos. It's not a simple solution. It takes time and consideration. The realization that there are these separate worlds in this hobby for me is somewhat of a relief. It gives me multiple adventures to explore, each with different guardrails. Anyway, I thought that to be an interesting revelation and wanted to share it with you. Again, please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Now on to the Windup Show, which for the most part falls into the affordable sector, but not exclusively. The show was again held in the Chelsea Market, an indoor event center with many shops and restaurants. The show itself was held in a separate event space. This year, I found the show to be somewhat more crowded than in 2018. In fact, there was a line to get in, as they wanted to keep the maneuvering inside manageable. For the most part, the brands were the same as last year, but all showing recent launches as well as other models in their collection. So let's take a look at what I saw at the 2019 Windup Show in New York City. Dan Henry is a brand I had yet to experience, so I took this opportunity to try on two of their chronographs. I would prefer the gray dial on the leather strap over the reverse panda on the bracelet. What do you think? Farah watches were there, and this is a watch company whose watches are designed in Britain but manufactured in Switzerland. I've had my eye on Farah for several years now, but have yet to pull the trigger. I was able to try on their new world timer, the Rosetta, a watch capable of providing the time in 24 time zones at once. There are several variants of this model, each which retail for $1,550 US. Although an interesting watch, I didn't find these world timer watches to my liking. I had also tried on their Oxley, a four-handed GMT watch, and a couple of chronographs. The Seagrave, with its two subdials, and the Moritz, with three subdials, and which comes with a tachometer bezel. These two retail for $1,950. And between the two, I do really like the Moritz. I was surprised to see Hamilton there, but they had some of their new releases. The Inframatic Auto, a 42mm dress watch with date. This model had a gradient gray dial and highly polished stainless steel bracelet, retailing for $945. Also, the Inframatic Auto chronograph, which comes with a retail price of $12,195. This was my first hands-on opportunity with Young Hans watches. I wasn't sure how I'd like the Bauhaus design of their watches, so I specifically wanted to look at the Max Bill watches. I tried on both a stainless steel case version for $995 and a gold-plated version at $200 more. Both employ a base movement of the ETA 2824-2. The silver-colored dial version was appealing, but I think its wearing scenarios might be limited for me. Of course, Monta was there, and they have several types of watches in their collection. But I was interested in both the Ocean King and the SkyQuest. Too bad they don't have one that combines those names, as I was a big fan of the TV show Sky King in the early 50s. The Ocean King comes with or without a date, and with a 12-hour or 60-minute bezel. The watch comes in at 40.7 millimeters and uses the Manta caliber M22, which is based on the Sellita SW300 movement. The specific model I tried on is a cross between a dive watch with 304 meters of water resistance and a travel watch with its 12-hour bezel. The SkyQuest has the same case dimension and water resistance as the Ocean King, but uses the caliber M23, a Sellita SW330 base movement supporting a GMT hand. As this watch is a GMT, it comes with a 24-hour bezel. Both watches retail on bracelet for $1,925. I have always liked the Oris Big Crown with pointer date. Here I tried on one with a bracelet, but found it a bit too flashy for me. I would probably go with a leather strap if I were to get one. I did stop by the Christopher Ward booth to try on their C60 Trident Pro 600 diver watch. They had them in 38, 40, and 46 millimeters. I used to have the GMT version of this watch, but decided to sell that one a few months ago. I'll leave a link to that video up on top here. Also there was Notice, Autodroma, Laurier, Brew, Brawler, Raven, Vortic, Collins, Enerdane, Baltic, Everest, Oak and Oscar, Vero,
They age really well. They get dark, they patina, they get really nice. They're nice as they are, but they...
and Zelos. And if you are a subscriber to my channel, you know that I've purchased a few watches from Zelos and their partners, Aragon. I'll leave a link to those videos here on the screen. As I've said many times before, these watch shows are a great place to see and, more importantly, try on watches from these smaller and micro brand companies. Thanks for watching again and for all your comments. I'm really getting some great comments in my most recent videos and a lot of exchange of ideas and thoughts about these mid-tier luxury watches. So be sure to subscribe, hit that bell icon, and watch some of my most recent videos. See you the next time.